A warm welcome to you wherever you are in the world. This is our Sunday gathering. Oh, we're world famous. Yes, we are. Each Sunday at this time, or Monday morning for our friends down under, we do everything we possibly can to lift you, inspire you, let you know the reality of the afterlife, and have a little fun in the process. Each theme is different. Maryalice picked our theme today. When you hear the big picture, well, she says it's the bigger picture. So she's picked most of our songs today. And boy, those first two songs we just heard were so powerful. Katy Perry's was a little haunting, but oh, very powerful and beautiful graphics as well. A shout out to our friends not here today. And as you may know, Scott and Darren, Carrie and Phil all began the Sunday gathering with us. We're in our fifth year now, so that's pretty incredible. Scott and Darren are not too far away from me right now. They're in Plymouth, Massachusetts, doing a live afterlife event. Carrie and Phil are in the UK, and I just ask, we just got word that Phil hasn't been feeling well. They suspect he has sepsis, which is serious, and so it looks like he may be admitted into the hospital. So while we're here today, if we could keep Phil in our thoughts and prayers and a little extra oomph when we get to the healing section, that would be appreciated. They're good friends and family. They really are family. So today we have the wonderful Maryalice Coleman, who will be doing our address. And yes, she picked our theme. We also have the magnificent Tim Southwell, who will be our demonstrating medium today, and he will be doing the prayers. And then there's me, filling in with all of the other things, the reading, the healing, some words for the week. And of course, you know, I'm the master on all the music and controls and such things. We're normally together about 90 minutes-ish on our Sunday gathering. I just ask that you sit back, you relax, you put yourself in as part of our family. I think you already know you are. But for those of you who are here for the very first time, please know this is a very real community. Even though we are joined by Zoom, we are very real. We're real people. It is often a group well over 100 people that attend our Sunday gatherings. You're definitely not alone. So with that, what I'd like to do is turn it over to Tim for our opening prayer. And welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Sandra. And it's great to see you, and it's great to see Maryalice again. It's wonderful to be here. And also to all the people who are watching right now. Thank you for being here. And as we collect our thoughts together, if you're comfortable with closing your eyes, please feel free to do so as we go into prayer. Divine Spirit, we're thankful that we have the opportunity to gather again. And for some of us, this is a very helpful beginning to a week, and sometimes the end of a previous week. In here, we can gather time to look at ourselves, look at what's going on, look at the inner picture. But today also, we're thankful that we're able to look at the bigger picture, to be maybe objective, to look beyond ourselves and to see what's needed out there and maybe how we interact with them. And we're grateful that we can gather here and that we have time together and that we can share our thoughts and hope that there will be something that we can take away. And we know that there always is, and we can be restful in that. And we give our thoughts also to Phil and Carrie, who aren't here this week, and especially to Phil, who we've just heard is in need of some healing. And we give thanks that we have this hour and a half together and the inspiration that it may give. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you so much, Tim. All right, the reading. This reading I found for you, it's done something to me. I don't know. Have you ever felt like you were on a mission all your life to get somewhere or be something or have a lot of money or do a lot of things? Anyways, this reading that I found helps make the bigger picture clear. The moral of this story is to know what it is that you place value upon, to understand what it is that really matters in your life. Some of the simplest things are often the most beautiful, and everything you ever wanted may be much closer than you think. So here's the story. A vacationing American businessman standing on the pier of a quaint coastal fishing village in southern Mexico watched as a small boat with just one young fisherman pulled into the dock. Inside the small boat were several large yellowfin tuna. Enjoying the warmth of the early afternoon sun, the American complimented the Mexican on the quality of his fish. "How long did it take you to catch them?" the American casually asked. "Oh, a few hours," the Mexican fisherman replied. "Why don't you stay out longer and catch more fish?" the American businessman then asked. The Mexican warmly replied, "With this, I have more than enough to meet my family's needs." The businessman then became serious. "But what do you do with the rest of your time?" Responding with a smile, the fisherman responded, "I sleep late, I play with my children, we watch ball games, and I take a siesta with my wife. Sometimes in the evenings, I take a stroll into the village to see my friends. I play the guitar and we sing a few songs." The American businessman impatiently interrupted. "Look, I have an MBA from Harvard, and I can help to make you more profitable. You can start by fishing several hours longer every day. You can then sell the extra fish you catch. With the extra money, you can buy a bigger boat. With the additional income that larger boat will bring, before long, you can buy a second boat, then a third one, and so on until you have an entire fleet of fishing boats." Proud of his own sharp thinking, he excitedly elaborated on a grand scheme which could bring in even bigger profits. Then, instead of selling your catch to a middleman, you'll be able to sell your fish directly to the processor or even open up your own cannery. Eventually, you could control the product, processing, and distribution. You could leave this tiny coastal village and move to Mexico City, or possibly even Los Angeles or New York City, where you could even further expand your enterprise. Have you never thought of such things? The Mexican fisherman was asked. He quietly responded, "But sir, how long will all of this take?" After a rapid mental calculation, the Harvard MBA pronounced, "Probably about 15 to 20 years, maybe less if you work really, really hard." "And then what, senor?" asked the fisherman. "Why, that's the best part," answered the businessman with a laugh. "When the time is right, you would sell your company stock to the public and become very, very rich. You would make millions." "Millions, really? But what would I do with it all?" asked the young fisherman in disbelief. The businessman boasted, "Then you could happily retire with all the money you've made. You could move to a quaint coastal fishing village where you could sleep late, play with your grandchildren, watch ball games, and take siesta with your wife. You could stroll to the village in the evenings where you could play the guitar and sing with your friends all you want." That's the end of the story, and I think you got it, that he already had everything he needed. So here is my question for you to contemplate today during our Sunday gathering and after. What does success look like? Not to the world, but what does success look like to you? It may be totally achievable in a far shorter amount of time than you realize. And you may realize, like me when I read that story, that I'm just like that fisherman. I have it all. Thank you. We're going to move into our healing segment now, and there's just some powerful, powerful, powerful words in this song called "I'm Already Enough." So just let those words sink in. But as we go into our healing, if we could just take a moment for those that we know need healing, need support, need love. I know there's people. I know some of us have pets. And also there's many places in the world and conflicts going on. The best way to enter healing is not to look for what's wrong, but instead see everything healthy, well, and whole. However, the unseen world works, it takes our energy, especially our feel good energy, and can direct it to where in the world it's needed. Absent healing is very real. Lots of cases of miraculous things happening. And I know we here in the Sunday gathering, when one or two or more are gathered, mighty powerful things happen. So we'll remember Phil, of course, today in our healing thoughts, seeing him healthy, well, and whole, and back feeling great next week on the Sunday gathering, and also everyone in your life as well. And please remember, anytime we genuinely offer our healing, we get some in return. So let me find our healing song. And then the voice you'll hear next after the song will be Maryalice for our address.
Oh, I'm so grateful for those songs. Great reminders for all of us. If you didn't get a chance to see the couple before it started, watch the replay because they're so inspiring and so helpful. I thought about this theme today because it's personal to me, but I know it's a universal, it's just universal for all of us. And I like to talk about the big picture, the bigger picture, and the biggest picture. For me, I break it down into what we know as our experiences in life. They do create a snapshot for us. They do create some kind of picture, a picture of what we believe about other people. There are all these different snapshots that are together that together create who we think we are. But what I want to talk about is how those are formed, how they can change, and the biggest picture of all. So when we're little, we're very myopic, right? We're very focused. Toddlers, that's their universe. Their little universe is their home and their mom and daddy. And, if I'm talking traditional family um, and they go through different experiences. Maybe being left alone for the first time because there's a new babysitter and they're freaking out. But the parents reassure them, it's okay, we'll be back, it's going to be fine. Well, they fuss and they worry and they can't wait for their parents to get home, and they get home and they go, oh, everything is fine. And so they develop this pattern of, oh, I can trust them. I can trust them. They're going to be back and I'll be okay. Picture one, that's a snapshot. Okay, it's going to be okay. So they develop a type of trust. As we get older, let's say grade school, you're in a sports team and for the first time and you're playing and you're really scared and you're really nervous. What are people going to think of me? What if I drop the ball? All those things that we might experience. But it's the learning process because we have to learn to be on a team. We learn to work with other people. We learn to listen to the coach and what they're going to tell us and how whatever the sport may be, let's say baseball. And you're learning it. And yes, you're going to make mistakes, but it's a good coach in life that'll say, hey, that's okay. You tried your best. Now, maybe if you stand a little bit like this and we get coached, and you know why? That coach knows the bigger picture. That coach knows if you do it a certain way, you'll have a better chance of hitting that home run. The child doesn't know that, but the coach does. We get older and then we get in our teens, and I'll never forget this. One of my daughters, it was like just starting college, and she fell in love and she was just so happy. And this guy was it, and he was wonderful and da 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 da. And we met him, and he was a very, very nice, very athletic person. But in my then husband's and my knowledge, we're like, oh, this is never going to work, because we could just tell the different vibes and the different perspectives in their lives. But you know how it is when you're young, you're in love, and you think this is going to work. Well, months later, he broke up with her, and it was, oh God, you think the world was ending. And we stayed with her and talked with her and let her cry and let her feel that emotion. And it wasn't the time, though, to say, oh, it'll get better. You'll see. There'll be a lot of loves in your life, that kind of thing. That just, it's not the time when someone's going through that. But a few days later, she composed herself and we were discussing it. And that was, I could tell there was an opening to say, you know what? This is hard. A first love when we lose is always difficult, but it's a chance to learn about ourselves. And I want you to know that there'll be other opportunities in your life. She's like, yes, I know, you know. Well, I was in the position of going, I know what that's like. Been there, done that, you know. So in her eyes, it was like her first big love. This was important, you know. So she was learning that. And of course, years go by. She found the love of her life and she's married, has two children. So it's like the bigger picture, right? That's that snapshot, the emotional snapshot. When the aha moment hits, it goes, oh, I get it now. I've had many in my life. I'm sure all of you have had many, many experiences of deep, deep grief of losing someone we love. We've had maybe betrayal in our lives. We've had a friend who we thought was a friend cut us down behind our back. We've had, who knows, there's so many different scenarios in our lives that all of us have probably experienced. I know I have. And even though when we hit adulthood, we do have a foundation of, I can get through this. Oh, look, I got through, I could do this, I can do this. Because we build up those muscles, that foundation. We can see the mosaic of the pictures that we've made going, I did that, I got through that, that was okay. I was brave, I conquered that. But sometimes as an adult, we do go through difficult times that we aren't ready for. But if we look back at the mosaic of these pictures of what we've created for our life, we can see that, just as I said, I got through that, I can do that, I can do that. This is a new experience. I don't know how to do this. I flubbed. I can't believe I hurt my best friend, or they hurt me, or whatever it might be. We can always go back with trust. Now, this is creating the bigger picture, because as we're adults, this picture is getting pretty big, right? We have a mosaic of a lot of different things in our lives that's creating the picture of who we are or who we would like to be. Now, the good thing is we can take some of those snapshots out and replace them if we want. And that involves change. And all of us have gone through some kind of change. We've had to. Life will force us to change if we don't do it voluntarily, right? We hit up, smack the wall of life and we go, uh-oh, I don't want to do that again. I need to make some changes here. Now, I know for me, when I talk about the biggest picture, it's our bigger picture wrapped in the frame of spirit, of love. In my life, I know there were many years I knew I had the ability for mediumship. I did not know what to do with it, though. So I kind of put it on the shelf. And then, long story short, came along years ago, having met Sandra, blah, blah, blah. Then Sandra knew Phil and Carrie, and they were doing classes. I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm going in. And I have to say that working with them personally, in my story is, even though I was a personal growth and development coach for many, many years, the deep learning more of the spiritual aspect of my life and the growth that could be attained and that I needed to do was astounding. And when I gather all my pictures of my life, really good ones, happy times, sad ones, grieving moments, whatever it might be, this mosaic that creates this picture of me, I decided to frame it in the love of the divine and spirit. When I purposely did that in a meditation one day, I could see the pictures started glowing from behind. They all meant something. They all had a meaning to it for me to grow, for me to learn. And as that song said, I am enough. I am enough right where I am this moment. I am, and you are. You are enough. When the time comes and we might need to grow on that enoughness to be more enough, if that's a thing, we need to trust that that will happen in our life. Oftentimes, we can observe ourselves interacting with other people, and we can take moments of a look they might give or an answer they might give that might be telling, like, I don't know about you, this is how I perceive it. Even when I was a young girl, I could perceive, like, oh, I didn't say that right. They're upset about that. I can see it on their face. Now, they would never say anything, but I could feel it. And that taught me a lesson about, okay, I need to learn to communicate a little better, be a little more diplomatic if I need to be. This is how we learn and how we grow, how we learn about ourselves. Because if we don't have self-reflection, what are we doing here? It's about life. It's about growth. It's about creating the beautiful pictures that we want. Now, all of us have somewhere or something we want to develop. It could be a hobby, it could be fun, it could be maybe you're considering a new career or whatever. And it takes learning, it takes just getting out of our comfort zone. I know we've heard that a million times. But when we do, and we expand and we grow, that picture is bigger and bigger and bigger. And the frame expands with it. That frame is not set in stone. That frame of the divine spirit of nothing but love that frames our life and our picture, it grows with us. In fact, it wants us to grow. That's what I believe. So I wanted to share that because I think sometimes we get too hard on ourselves in life. We think we're not good enough. We think we've made too many mistakes. We've blown it. I knew somebody, this is way back when, who was in a gang, and he happened to have, he actually unalivened somebody, I'll put it that way. And the remorse and the pain he felt was tremendous. It was tremendous. He didn't do it stone cold. He had this definite remorse and fear, and he lived with that for a long time. And then somebody came alongside him, somebody that he respected, who said, you need to forgive yourself. You need to forgive yourself. You need to make amends where you can, and you need to show up, and you need to help others who might be in gangs. And that's exactly what he did and still does. So we can make amends even if we think we've done terrible things in life. We can take that snapshot out and put in a new one. It's like a redemption. We can do that. I just want you to know that your personal mosaic is absolutely beautiful. It is. Who you are is beautiful. And we have everything we need inside us. And I know for me in my life, it took me a long time to even understand what that meant. I would hear it, but it was very hard to assimilate it in my life. And I can imagine sometimes for all of us, it's the same. It's hard to imagine that. So I just want to let you know you are enough. Your picture is beautiful. Just allow it to be framed with the love of the divine. If you want to call it God, you want to call it spirit, you want to call it source, you want whatever. Allow yourself to frame it and know that it'll expand with you and also guide you through life. So in times of uncertainty, I just feel one more thing to say. So many times of uncertainty in our lives, and I'm in one right now. And I'm in one that I've never been in before. So this is new for me. So the thing is, it's like I have to go back and go, oh my gosh, God has always had my back. I've always been guided. It's always going to be okay. I just don't know at this moment, but I know it's going to be okay. And I need to listen. So thank you for listening to me. I truly appreciate it. And I hope all of you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, Sandra.
Oh, thank you so much, Maryalice. And to send Maryalice some love, let's all press our raise hand button. It's the best way we can clap. You'd get a standing ovation right now. I am certain your words have made such a difference with me, and I know they have with others. Well, friends, we are going to turn now to our friends in the spirit world, and this is the time of our Sunday gathering for our demonstration of mediumship. And of course, we're all volunteers here on our Sunday gathering and students in our own right of life. We have the wonderful Tim Southwell that will be our demonstrating medium today. He, like Maryalice, has been through the school of Carrie and Phil and really has come into his own mediumship now and offers readings. And he's just a wonderful, good soul with integrity, with love in his heart, to give those people, your loved ones, an opportunity to speak again. And, you know, we all have the ability of communication here, whether it's through messages or whether it's through our voice. Well, they don't any longer. And to let us know that they are alive and well, I think that's one of the best gifts of mediumship, but also it acts as that spiritualization of the self. If they have gone on and they're still around, like Maryalice talked about, the bigger picture. Who am I and what is my life for? So there's so much that can be gleaned from a good demonstration of mediumship. They're all different. And I'm sure Tim, like every medium, has the wobbles in the knees and the excitement in the nerves and all that. Because as a medium, you really do use and trust the thoughts and words and feelings and pictures and sounds and smells and all of that is coming from a person in the spirit world. So they're out on the skinny branches when they do any kind of medium demonstration, trusting the spirit world. But their love for humanity on both sides of the veil is more important than, am I getting this right? Or am I so nervous that I can't do this? So anytime you see a medium demonstrate, make sure you send them lots of love and positivity. So today, Tim will be requesting from those in the spirit world to work with him, just like you see Tim, Maryalice, and myself being representatives for our human people in the spirit in our Sunday gathering. We have a handful of people that usually turn up from the spirit world saying, we're still here, and they speak on behalf of all of our loved ones. So there will be some people in our Sunday gathering that will get a reading and reconnection with your loved one today. But for everyone who does not, please know that these are representatives of all of our loved ones, letting us know we're still alive, we're still part of your life, we're going to see you again. Oftentimes, there's details of what they are witnessing us do. I mean, that can happen. Also, there can be some really loving bits of advice that come through. Whatever those are, pull them towards yourself. Okay, that's what I ask. And just like in Maryalice's address today, there is something for all of us in that. And I think the spirit world's no different. So if you're here for the very first time or you need a little refresher course, this is how this goes. Tim will kindly invite someone from the spirit world to work with him. When they do, they use again his thoughts, his memories, his feelings. He will do his best in a couple of words or so to describe the person that he has with him. And yes, we are still real people when we cross over. We're not balls of energy. We are still people. So he will use some words to describe that person best of his abilities. If you can understand all of what he said as your person, And now your person would be a friend, a family member, maybe somebody you worked with, maybe somebody a little bit distant to you. The one thing in common though is they no longer walk on planet Earth. They have passed into the spirit world. But if you can understand every word that he spoke about this person, we want you to press your raise hand button. Now I know I just asked you to give Maryalice a round of applause for the raise hand, but this is the time you can press that raise hand button a few times just to see how it works. You'll notice on your device or your computer, it'll go from raise hand to lower hand, raise hand, lower hand. Why this is important is sometimes there's several people that might be able to take and understand those few initial bits of information that Tim has shared. As he continues to work, the ideas will get down to one hand standing, so to speak. So you really want to pay attention. Like I said, we often have well over 100 people in our Sunday gathering. So just keep your hand up if you can understand all of the information. Okay, deal? If you have an opportunity to work with Tim today or any medium on our Sunday gathering or outside of our Sunday gathering, it's important that you simply let them do the work and you say yes, no, or I don't know to the information that they give. I feel very strongly that currently in the world, there's some mediums that ask too many questions, and you go home thinking, did the medium really have my loved one, or did I volunteer that information? Excuse me. So to prevent that, just a yes, no, or I don't know. Don't feel bad if something doesn't fit and you say no. Well, our teachers teach no simply means new opportunity. So I know Tim will do his best for you as just as Maryalice just did. We love to play a piece of music, and I picked this one for today. Maryalice has all the rest of the songs. But when I think of the bigger picture, I think of the 30,000-foot view, and that's when we're in an airplane traveling somewhere. We're way up high, and so that is a big picture. And of course, our loved ones in the spirit world, they have a really big picture because they've passed from this life and they can see all those things that they've experienced and that we're experiencing and how our soul is growing. Over maybe 20 years ago, I saw the Broadway play Wicked, and there's a song called Defy Gravity that just really empowers me. It empowers me to be all that I can, to go out on those skinny branches, that I'm just more powerful than I think I am. And so the words are to defy gravity and be that. So Wicked has just hit its 20th year on Broadway. And so it's got the cast singing this song, Defy Gravity. It may be something new to you, but it empowers me and I hope it empowers you too. So as we listen to the song, just imagine that love from the unseen world is packed right in that room with you right now, because they're with us. They don't just show up on a Sunday gathering. Our friends and family are busy in the afterlife, but they keep one foot in our world. And they'll be the first to give you that great big hug when you arrive, but not too soon. So here's our song, Defy Gravity, and then we will be back with Tim Southwell. I hope you enjoyed that. I love that song. It does it for me. Tim, welcome back to our Sunday gathering. Thank you so much for being with us.
You're more than welcome. And wow, wow, what a song, right? And actually, I was thinking there too. Each of those lovely ladies would have been wearing green makeup and some sort of costume to turn into a witch, and yet look at how beautiful they are. It's kind of like us. Like if we have whatever we have on the outside going on, inside is that soul that's beautiful, and it's far beyond even comprehension how beautiful it is, I think, at times. And thank you very much. And thanks, Maryalice, as well. It's a pleasure to have heard you speak so many times because I get something out of each one of those in the mosaic. And I thought that was going to be it for for the day was the mosaic, but then the framing of that is like the icing on the cake, which you love to make, our cakes. That that's something to chew on for me for the rest of the week. So thank you for that. And it's great to be back again, and I'm kind of bubbling with excitement too, and thinking of defying gravity maybe. And I think there's some out there who are defying gravity who want to come through as well. So let's begin and see who's going to step forward. So as I connect further into the spirit world, I do feel the presence of a sister. And okay, she wants to talk about her red hair. Her red hair was her pride and joy. Usually we don't go with description, but she is so adamant about that being a beautiful. She loved that. She wasn't egotistical, but she loved her lovely okay, red hair. She's so specific. She's refining this. Let's see if there's one more piece that she has. Um, and I know I'm in the States with her, and I also feel she was an accomplished artist. Now that piece I'm leaving a little open for artists and musician at the moment. So if we can see if there's somebody who can take that information, it seems quite specific.
Thank you very much, Tim. All right, friends, if you can understand that information, go ahead and press your raise hand button, please. Joshua has his hand raised. Joshua, if you could press your unmute button. Hi,
Hello.
Joshua. Hello,
Hi.
welcome.
Thanks.
Hi, Joshua. You can take all of that information.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fantastic. I wanted to start with your sister's red hair. This is your sister, yes.
sure. Yeah, well, red hair is definitely in the family.
Okay. Um, and I do feel that, I've had friends with red hair and they're sometimes very shy about it or kind of wish they hadn't. I feel she embraced it.
Right.
And I also feel that there's an important aspect of her that she was not egotistical or full of pride, but she did make herself uh, well presented, and her hair was almost like a crowning glory of her personality.
Right.
And as I go there, I want to say her personality, I feel from her that she was a very loving person and often thinking of others before herself.
Right. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Right works and yes works as well. Um, there's also a sense from her. Okay. Um, you'd understand she was a self-made lady in
Right.
career.
Yeah.
And I feel that there was at least one more phase that she was coming up to expand that career. She didn't get to finish that though.
That sounds right.
I'm just going to hang on to there a bit. It's interesting. She's giving me the feeling that her her instincts in her career were almost like intuitive. They were almost bar none.
Hmm. Right.
She knew how to get things solved, how to work ahead, how to manage people as well.
Did that very well. Yes.
Yes. And it's like she didn't even need to think about it. It was her automatic reaction. She was so at home in her leadership in her career.
Yes.
Now she's taking me back to she's taking me back to red hair again because I do feel there must be memories in the family, or it might even be specifically with yourself, of her standing in front of a long mirror and it's just a combing of long hair
Hmm.
as a child. And there's a sense there too. She's giving me the impression that even at a young age, and we're looking right at early teens, she was already on top of being aware of where other people were coming from, what they would be interested in.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, and she's your bigger sister, older sister.
Sounds, yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, because it feels as if she had that sort of big sister, older sister way about her, with more than just yourself, that goes beyond the family. It was like she had that view of how people were doing, what they were up to, and keeping track of what was going on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the music and art really was what made me raise my hand too, though.
Okay, yeah. And that's good, thanks. I just follow where she's leading, and she is leading me to that. She's very much into the theme of today, which is that bigger world. She was really in control of herself. She knew where she was. And as a young adult, that really came to fore, and that allowed her to be able to reach out and understand what would be beneficial for others.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then there's where she's taking me then to the artistic side. Okay. So with the artistic side, I feel she wouldn't have considered herself as accomplished as other people did.
Right.
And that there was a bit of it's humbleness, but it's also just that's an area where she felt that she was very expressive and quite beautiful. And I feel that um, hmm, so she had piano lessons as well as no, sorry, piano lessons as well as art from school,
Hmm.
correct? Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
And it's almost a battle between the two as to there are times in which one was more of an interest to her or drew her in a bit more.
Yeah,
Does that
there
make sense?
yeah, makes sense.
Okay. And she also had a following though, too. She had people that loved to hear her play and also loved to see her work.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting there because she's relaying that she's very careful about staying on the side of being a people pleaser. So she's very intelligent as to not to cross that barrier. And I feel in her art that came across as um, she knew what an audience would like, but she didn't play into it too much. She was still the creative force. Does that make sense? That's a lot of words there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I feel there that she understood pleasing herself first and creating what came from her first. And you have a piece of her art.
I do. Yeah.
Um,
Yes, I do.
okay. And she's implying that that piece of art was not a quick piece of art. That took time for her to create. Which I don't know if you'd
Completely.
be aware of that.
Completely. Yeah, completely.
Yeah. So, and it was with it, the feeling she's giving me. It's interesting. It was in words, heart and soul, and on piano, heart and soul. We all know that tune, and it just kind of came in together there, right? So at the same moment, that the amount of effort was not effort, first of all, and the
Hmm.
amount of work was not work. It was a project of love, and there's a great deal of happiness that you ended up with that piece of art.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
And it's funny because she's now drawing a relationship between the framing that Maryalice said and also the framing of the art. So you must have it in a special frame.
Yeah, it's on the wall.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if she was here when that frame when it yes, okay, okay. So that framing, I believe she was here when that was framed, and that framing is ornate but not over the top.
Yeah.
That makes sense to you. Okay. And I just want to give you her love. She's coming through here and all the way through the what was going on here, the emotions and the feeling was just pouring that through. And okay. And I feel that she's impressing too that although there are times that you might not show the side of yourself that is fragile at times, and that must be a recent feeling of hers. Just please know that she is there beside you, even if looking at the art gives you that impression of that. She knows you're strong. She was strong. She knows you're strong. There are times in which that takes a dent. She's right there. I feel that's her message that she wants to leave with you today.
I really appreciate that, Tim. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Joshua.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Tim.
Okay. As I reach in again, actually, I'm going to take a sip of water.
Good to do.
Yeah, some for some it's to gain time. For me, it's a parched throat, actually, at the moment. Oh my gosh. Okay. Um, Music seems to be in the air. That's the oh my gosh statement there. Because I do believe I have a lady who did like to sing, and I do know that she was, I feel she was an aunt. Now, it could be someone in the family named Aunt who is close enough, but I'm going to start with an aunt in the family who was a singer, did public performances, and I feel she did that up until her older years. Let's see if there's one more piece that she, okay, and yes, the type of performances were more of a classical music nature.
Thank you, Tim. All
Okay.
right, friends, who can understand this information? Think back. You might have to, but press your raise hand button, please. Okay, we have Santu. Oh, and Caroline too with their hands raised.
Okay. What I will do is I'll start definitely with Ant. So we'll see if both of our recipients can take it as Ant, who was a singer in the public venue, just to recap, and it was classical music, among others, but predominantly classical music.
All right, we have Santu and Caroline. If you can take all that information, keep your hand raised. And they do.
And they do. Okay. Uh, in the singing, she's letting me know that her voice was strong up until the end, but it did have that quaver. And that's more age related, I feel, than anything else. But she still kept singing. That's what made her stop, though, is that it couldn't be as perfect as it was.
All right, ladies, you can understand that information? So far, yes.
We're still going? Okay. Still going strong, too. Um, She's also letting me know that on stage was a big part for her. She loved being on stage, and that included character roles with some minor costumes that may be included with that.
Okay, Caroline, thank you. We have Santu with her hand left raised. Santu, hello?
Hi, I was just about to lower my hand because I don't know if she,
Okay,
got
then
into costumes and all that.
I'd
Or,
say hang on, send two, because I'll backtrack on the costumes a bit and just have a look at what that is, because for both of you, I
mm,
think that was the thing that made you not
mm,
go.
mm.
Okay. Um, So for both of our people that were there, I would say that she was on stage, and I know she would have been well dressed. That would have been a formal performance, and that there were times though that I do feel there was, I believe it's a memorable performance, and I don't know what that's called. It's like a scarf. It's the feather boa. That's it. There's a memory of a feather boa with this aunt.
That I don't
Santu?
know.
No?
I don't know. I don't know enough of her singing. For the backstory of singing. Um,
Okay. Okay. And then Caroline.
Let me just check
Carolyn.
with Caroline or Carolyn. Carolyn, are you there?
Yes,
Hi.
I'm here.
Could you understand that with the feather boa?
No, I cannot.
Okay, thank you very
Okay.
much.
So I'm getting in that one zone. So I'm going to go back just to concentrate with our two lovely ladies here. Um, I know I have an aunt, and I know she's on stage, and I know she knew she was a good singer, and I feel that she was actually very popular in her young years. And by young years, I'm looking at her 30s. In 30s, she was performing in front of audiences.
Let me check with Santu. Could you understand that, Santu?
mm, I don't know. only because I don't know enough of her back history of when she was in her 30s.
Okay.
Um,
And then Caroline?
Caroline, could you understand that? In her 30s, she was singing?
Well, she was singing in a church.
Okay, in her 30s. Caroline, if I could and is it Caroline or Carolyn?
I listened to both.
That's great. Okay, I'll use both then. Thank you. And actually, I'll work with you and Santu if you could keep listening. Uh, 'Cause your aunt also has, I feel that she was a very strong personality. She did have a great sense of humor on stage.
Um, well, she mainly performed in church.
Right. Okay. So if it's, I still feel there's that sense of humor that you'd be aware of with her.
Well, we had this very special connection. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to stay there for just a second. In her training, though, I still feel that the classical music was a very big part of her.
Um, Not sure.
That seems okay. That seems like a hesitancy. The classical music does seem to be an important part, and I am looking at an aunt who was on a stage. You'd understand those components.
Well, as I said, the main stage she was on was in church.
Okay. Just not quite feeling that we're in the right zone there, Caroline.
No, I can imagine, but
Yeah,
that
yeah.
doesn't feel right
All
for
right.
me either.
Yeah. These are very important things to her as well. Um, okay, Santu. So, Caroline, if you could keep on listening, and Santu, if I could come back to you,
Sure.
because I
yeah,
just want
I'm
to
here.
serve our spirit person correctly.
Yeah.
Um, Okay, so you'd be aware of your aunt being on a stage and singing classical music.
Um, yeah, I mean, I witnessed her singing on a stage.
Okay,
Can't
and
remember what music it was, whether it was classical or kind of ethnic music, but
okay,
in a classical style.
okay, we'll hold that there for a second. Um, we do know though that she had a sense of humor.
I don't know, she was pretty strict with me. I never experienced her sense of humor.
Okay, because it seems like in front of an audience, she knew how to,
Hmm.
in a sense, work an audience, if you know what I
Hmm.
mean.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
does that make sense? Just a yes or no would be great,
I mean that I don't know.
or I don't know. Okay, let's go into the music a little bit more, and we'll hang on to that. Um, She also wants to talk about how her voice was her the sense I'm getting from her is that she sang beyond the years that were optimal for her. Her
That,
age was showing in her voice.
mm, um, again, that I don't know because I only heard her singing once when I was like a teenager.
Okay, just going to hold for a bit there and just check with Sandra. Is there anyone else out there that is matching? Because these are very key parts.
Thank you, Tim. Is there anyone else at our Sunday gathering that can understand this information? If yes, press your raise hand button, please. Just to be sure we get to the right person.
Right.
All right, Sophia has her hand raised, and you other ladies just stay just where you are. Sophia, if you could press your unmute button. Hi,
Okay.
Sophia.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi,
Uh,
Sophia. How are you? Let me go over
Hi,
the
I'm fine.
information
Thank you,
if
Tim.
I can. Good.
All righty.
Good to hear for that. So this would be Aunt and Spirit.
It is not Aunt in spirit, and that's the only thing that held me back. The
Okay.
other things about the singing
Because I
and
can't
in her
drop the
30s.
relationship. The
Okay.
relationship is a
Then
possibility, and she was very close to the family, though.
very close to the family. Yes.
Okay. And she was on
Yeah.
stage singing classical music,
On stage, classical music.
and
Yes.
you'd understand that. Trying to remember everything I said there. um, that's a sign of my age there, creeping in. Um, also, the sense of humor, very important.
I think on her stage, she would
Yes.
have had a sense of humor
And
because
she knew
she
how,
was in
okay.
productions that would have required that.
Okay, that feels much much stronger there. Because I do feel, I hate to use the word work an audience, but she knew how to play with an audience in a sense.
I think so, yes.
Okay. And you'd recognize too that her voice at the end of her singing career was fairly weak.
Yes, I only heard her in her older years, but I know her history of singing in her youth.
Okay, great. And she was a popular singer as well.
Yes,
People did love to hear her voice. And in fact,
yes.
if I can concentrate on her voice there for just a second, I feel from her that even though her voice was sort of weak at the tail end of her career, it was still a nice voice.
Yes, it was very nice. Absolutely.
And it feels
Yeah.
she's giving me the impression too that although she was trained, it's like her voice had a little something extra which would appeal to people's emotions. Don't
The style of music that she did, yes, that would be correct.
um, this is very interesting because she's referring to expressions, she's referring to a crescendo. She wants to give the impression that she was kind of um, uh, she had mastered being able to do the emotions, crescendos, and have a wonderful ending to the song that would create basically applause and standing ovations.
I believe that's possible. Yes, she was a very good singer.
Okay. Um, it's that she lived the music. She had an understanding that was beyond just the training, I think is where she's going there.
Yes, 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 yes. That's a good way to
Okay.
say it.
I do want to bounce back to that feather boa. It seems as if that's part of her. She would not be afraid to put on a little persona on stage, including if it was a piece of costume.
Oh, yes, she wore costumes.
Okay, great. Um, very, very, just give me two things here. Sorry. I feel as strong as she was voice on stage, she could be strong off stage as well, speaking for herself,
She had a strong personality.
right?
Yes.
Um, then there's a great deal of clarity from her as well. If she wanted to say something, it was crystal clear what she was after.
I don't know that for sure, but
Okay,
it's just that I didn't know her that well.
right. Because I'm getting the impression from her that no, they say the expression she was her own woman. Well, a woman would be her own woman, but I feel that she was well defined. She knew who she was about, and there was a strength of her being. She was a very strong, not just person, but very strong in being a woman. Does that make sense to you?
I'm not sure what you mean, but she's certainly a strong woman.
Yeah, it's I'm trying to get in exactly where she's going there. I feel that she had to be strong in spite of men at the time that she was singing.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
she's very diplomatic, and in this case, I don't think it was me being the diplomatic. I think that was her. Um, it's just hers. She's going back to her voice again, and there are singers, and then there are those with a gift, and she's letting me know she was one without pride. No, a little bit of pride. She had a little bit of pride, but she knew she was one of those, certainly
Yes.
a notch
She
above.
had a voice to be proud of. Yes.
Yes.
It was
Um,
her career.
there's after her passing, it feels she's letting me know as if um, she wasn't talked about. It was almost with her passing, everything she had done sort of disappeared with her. Does that make sense to you?
I think that did happen. Yes.
Um, there's a bit of sorrow attached with that, and that
Oh.
there's memories of her that in a sense, her being here with you,
Mhm.
Sophia, is just to stir up the memories along about her. Let those sing again because I feel there's someone else in the family that also has a talent for singing. Would you understand
Um,
that?
There was another person in the family very much into music,
Okay.
very strong.
Yeah, and it feels like there's an understanding. Wow, she loved to sing live. Almost everything she did was live. And I feel it's
Yes.
either with piano or a smaller group, occasionally with,
Oh, yes.
and you know there's occasional times with an orchestra.
An orchestra, correct, and even with a piano. Yes.
Yeah, and the small ones as well. Just
Yes.
her love of music, her joie de vivre, when she was on
Mhm.
stage, I'm getting the impression from her she was able to um, let other stuff sort of slip away when those moments were on. And
I
there's
think
where
so.
she's stepping forward for yourself as well. And that is, I feel from her that she's relaying um, very directly that you are, from her, you are a very special lady. And there are times to totally immerse yourself in what you want to do, because that will allow you to step out of the things that are, in a way, holding you back or holding you down. So I feel
Okay.
from her, she's passing along to um, guilt-free treat yourself in the stuff that you love to do, even if it's in front of people in the public eye. That's okay, because it allows you those moments to just leave everything else behind, to lose yourself in the moment.
Yes.
And she's emphasizing that would be great for you at the moment, is to lose yourself in the exact moment.
She's correct. Yes. This is an excellent reading, more than you know. Yes.
Okay, thanks, Sophia. And it was great to talk with you. We finally got to you. That was important.
You too.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you.
And continuing on, Sandra?
Sure. How about one more,
Okay.
Tim?
Okay, sounds great. Um, hmm. Okay, I do know I have mom who has stepped in, and I do believe I'm trying to avoid you saying there's a connection too. So let's see what this is about here. Okay. Okay, mom and spirit and mom and daughter talked about Harvard University as a possibility, but it didn't actually happen for daughter. I mean, okay, I'll stick with that. Let's see where
All
we go.
right. Thank you. All right. Who can understand that information? Press your raise hand button, please. No hands raised just yet, Tim.
Okay, I'll look at this a little bit more. I know it's mom and spirit. And I do know I have Harvard University, and I feel like actually that we're on the grounds of Harvard University, but not going to school there. It may have just been a visit. Um, yeah, I do feel like I'm touring the campus of Harvard with mom.
Does that make sense to someone with us today at memory of Harvard University with mom? No hands up.
Okay, that's okay because I think I'm getting some other clarity too,
Okay.
as in going a little too specific with that. I do feel that I do have mom in spirit, and that we went to a university tour together. There's a memory specifically of doing a university tour or college in the States, sorry, um, but ending up not going to that particular university.
All right. Does that make sense to someone with us, or who does this make sense to? So we'll take away the Harvard University, but you toured a university with your mom that you did not attend. Press your raise hand button, please. Everyone's so good, Tim, at taking instruction. They're
That's right.
doing just what we say, but no hands up yet.
Okay. Okay. Right. Well, I will try to drop the relationship. I feel strongly it is mom, but it could be someone who is like a mom. That could be the case. So I'm looking for young a lady who went to visit a college campus with an older person who is like a mom to them. And I do feel I am in the States.
Thank you. All right. Is this resonating with someone here? If yes, press your raise hand button, please. Spirit friends know exactly who's with us today. Tim, unfortunately, no one has their hand
Right.
raised.
Okay. So that means that's that new opportunity business, right?
That's right. New opportunity.
So I am sticking with a spirit person though, because I know she wants to speak to daughter. I do feel it is mom. I'm gonna just park the college and university bit. I think it is important, but we'll park it for a bit. Um, okay. So with mom's letting me know that daughter is a teacher, or at least was a teacher in her lifetime. So that I'm looking for that daughter. She is a teacher, was a teacher for school. And I know there's a great deal of pride of that from mom. Um, I also know that there were sacrifices that mom had to make, and I feel that was in finances, working a bit more in order to meet the requirements for the daughter. So mom in the spirit world, daughter is a teacher, and there's sacrifices mom made to allow that to happen.
Thank you, Tim. Lorraine has her hand raised. Hello, Lorraine. If you could press your unmute button. Hi, Lorraine.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi,
Thank
Lorraine.
you. Hi.
So we'll stick to the last package there. So you understand mom in spirit and that you are a teacher.
Correct.
Okay, great. And that mom had to sacrifice in order for sacrifice, and I feel it's like in jobs, in order to have that happen.
Yes.
Okay. Um, she's taking me back to campuses. Um, your mom visited you at your campus. Does that make
No.
okay? Okay. So I know I'm getting a little stuck on that one. I'm going to move on from that one though, because I know mom is actually trying to support this idea as well to get through to that point. Um, Mom keeps there's a couple things mom keeps on doing. Mom is an excellent cook of pies. Is that
No.
no? Then you're someone who would be able to cook pie quite well.
No.
No, okay. Um, then I could be using that a bit different. She also has an apple, so I'm going to use that. And I know that was for teaching as well, but I also feel that okay, got it. Um, You have siblings, yes?
Yes.
And there's a special bond that between you and her. Um, not I know mom was careful to treat everyone well, but there is that special bond between the two of you.
Yes.
Okay. Um, and I feel from her that there was seldom a moment that she needed to give you any kind of scolding or any kind of even correction.
Um, when I was older.
This isn't, yeah, we're not doing confession time or whatever. From mom, I feel that you were a very easy daughter to raise.
Yes, I would say yes.
Um, and that's there seems to be from mom that there's an understanding between the two of you. You two kind of got it when you were talking about, okay, and this is a bit older, yes. Um, you two had an understanding of things when there was a topic going on. It was just the two of you, and you got each other. You understood what was going on when others might not have.
Yes.
Okay. Um, and she's even sort of relaying to dad, there are times that you got it and dad didn't.
And Dad didn't?
Did not, yeah.
Yes.
And I feel that, Mom, I'm going back to how attentive she is because I know she's just dousing you with love. Um, and I want to go back to her preparing you for school, even when you were a young girl. She had everything just ready to go, I feel.
Yes.
Um, and down to the washing of the clothes, even the ones that you weren't going to choose. That,
Yes.
okay, that's how she delivered that. Um, and also the lunch bags.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, and those lunch bags would often have apples in them
Um,
and fruit.
Sometimes.
Okay. Hmm. It's just in a way she's determined to have you know that you were the apple of her eye. That's sort of where
Oh,
it was going. Yeah. And I was seeing if there was a bit more, but she's really adamant about that. I feel from her that she was loving, she was demonstrative, she did say it, but there's so much from her. I'm feeling she could have done that so much more that she held back.
yes. Yes.
And then I feel too that in her later years, she didn't actually have the opportunity to kind of catch up with that.
Correct.
Yeah, that yeah, it feels as if her passing didn't allow her to kind of bridge that expressing, even
Correct.
though you two understood things, and it's almost like an unspoken love between the two of you.
Yes.
And she's drawing me to eyes so that the two of you would have made eye contact. It's almost like there's an inside joke, but it's just that you got it going back to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
That
and
makes
it would
sense.
be, yeah, through the eyes, you would know. Um, and I feel from her very bright. She was quite clever. Um, and I feel that goes beyond sort of book smarts, more along the lines of just she could figure things out and it's hard to pull, okay, hard to pull a fast one with mom.
Yes.
You,
Yes.
yeah. And that may be perhaps why you're a little easier to raise because you realize defeat even before trying to even trying to do something with her. Because I feel she was almost one step ahead in good ways and also, and you must have a brother that was a bit of a handful. Does that make sense to
Absolutely.
you? Okay. She had to be a step or two ahead of that guy.
Yes.
Um, and she was. And it's not just in that sort of action, but knowing what people were looking for, what would really be helpful for them, preparing you for school. She was always a step ahead, it seemed.
Yes.
And she's letting me know that closer to the end, um, she's letting me know she didn't feel like she was quite on top of that.
Yes. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. And that in a sense, there's a bit of sadness there that that's a reflection of where she was for herself. But there's a relay here that she wants me to pass along that because it feels as if right along her passing there were some worries and concerns about her, and that um, she's wanting me to deliver that everything is good now. So it feels like there's a lot of loss leading up to her passing, and that's fine now, is the sense I'm getting from her to relay.
Yes. Yes.
Um, she's letting me know that you do talk to her quite frequently.
I do.
Yeah. And that there have been occasional signs and notes. You've looked at clocks and you follow where the time, maybe or she's telling me to wrap it up. But you see clocks and you take note of patterns. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. She's highlighting that that's her one of the ways in which she is getting your attention is by the times that you see it. It feels like it's repeated numbers, not so much
Yes.
patterns, but it's the like
Yep.
2 or whatever it might be.
Yep.
That her being able to kind of weasel in there to get that to happen. That's her. I feel that she wasn't a control freak, but she liked to be in control of the house.
Yes.
And so she's sort of guiding you, I'll use a kind word, to notice those things. And that's just a little cue card of hers to say, hi,
That
I am here. I hear every word that you're saying to me.
that is so my mother.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, Lorraine. It was a pleasure to bring your mom through.
Thank you so much, Tim.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thanks, Sandra. It's always a pleasure to serve spirit.
Oh, thank you so much, Tim. And let's send Tim some love. Press that raise hand button. Tim, we love you. We appreciate you. You've been on this journey quite a while. And Tim is so special. You can visit his website, psychicmediumtim.com. And like Tim does, and we really want mediums out there to do this, offer your people a 10-minute guarantee. If in those first 10 minutes you're not getting good evidence that your loved one's with you, that you just call the reading to an end and you don't pay. So that is something between Carrie, Phil, myself, and some other mediums. We're really trying to raise that level of mediumship in the world. It's not a get rich quick kind of thing where you take a weekend course and out there you are connecting with loved ones. But unfortunately, there's a lot of mediums out there that give mediums a bad name like that. So let's all do our part to raise that level. And of course, say yes, no, and I don't know. Let them do the work. But Tim, thank you so much for volunteering your time and being with us today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a few announcements before we move on with our Sunday gathering. Okay, what's coming up? First of all, is starting tomorrow. I'm part of a grief summit, I think you call it. It's Live Life After Loss, and it deals with any kind of loss that you have. It's free. It's myself and 20 other speakers have come together with Tessa Williams, and they're videos that you receive every day, and each one of us speakers has a gift for you. 100% free to do it. When you register, there's a little pop-up that if you want to save all the recordings and download them, there's an extra $47 charge, but you don't have to do that. So to find out about that, just go to wedon'tdie.com, click on the store page. You can register for next week's Sunday gathering and see everything that's coming up. Our classes are all in action right now. All of our medium classes, they will be beginning again soon. Also, next week we have special guest Rosemary Masaccio, who will be sharing the address with me, and we're so looking forward to that. Rosemary is one of our most favorite people. Please know, as you witness that these few people from the afterlife came to be with us today, they are part of our lives. It's hard to believe, yes, I know, because we can't see them, but they're very, very real. Energy cannot be destroyed. They're with us, they love us, and we will see them again. Keep talking to them in those quiet moments when you have a memory or something just comes in out of the blue. That's them. Truly it is. It's not just every Sunday or if you go to see a medium. They are with you and they love you so much. And speaking about love, I just can't help but share my good news. I know if you follow me on social media, I entered my story about my mom in a contest and won. And this book, Love Mom, is now, I'm happy to say, #3 on the New York Times bestseller list. So hundreds of thousands of people are reading it. And there's me and my mom. So you never know when you do something pure of heart, the difference that it could make. Because of course, I never told my mom I entered in case I didn't win. And now it's all over the television, and holy cow, it's a big deal. If I could put the Sunday gathering messages all together as far as the themes, courage, how to live through grief, that you are loved, those are all what's in the book. So it's not just for moms, it's for anybody, really. If you need some encouragement in life and a few laughs, check out the book, Love Mom. And then you'll recognize me. Yeah. So that's good news. Also, I want to thank everyone who's been so kind to donate to our Sunday gathering. If you'd like to make a donation, we can always put it to very good use for our behind the scenes things. Just go to wedon'tdie.com, click on the Sunday gathering page, and there's a place to donate if you'd like. But thank you. So just a few brief words for the week before I turn it over to Tim. Our theme today of the bigger picture, thank you, Maryalice, really has struck me in so many ways. Yes, taking the big picture 30,000 feet up helps. For me, sometimes when problems happen, is this a really big deal? You probably remember the book title, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it is small stuff. It's all small stuff. when we think of that bigger picture, that we are divine souls having a human experience, that every single bit of what we are gathering here is growth for our soul, it's experience. So if you were to think back on your life, wow, have you come a long way? It is something we human beings all share, that our mind looks for what's wrong, not for what's right. It's just part of being human. Now, we can't help it because it's automatic, but we can catch ourselves in the act. And in that moment, we can look for what's right. What are you grateful for? And it's a whole different way to live life if you can, throughout the day, say, I've got to collect 5 things I'm grateful for today. And so during the day, you're on the lookout of what you're grateful for. And at night, perhaps you have a pad next to your bed and you write those things down. It'll keep you in gratitude. It's a fine place to be. And like I said about the reading with that nice Mexican fisherman, that really struck home for me. Because how often are we thinking we've got to be bigger, stronger, faster? I sound like the $6 Million Man, anybody who remembers that TV show. But when we think about it, how much of what's on your bucket list have you already done? Do you already have? And not that we can't reach for the stars and we can defy gravity and we can go for our dreams. So you want to do that, sure, but also be grateful for what you do have. So that's all my message for today and for this week. We always like to leave you something to think about this week. All right. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tim for our closing prayer.
Thank you, Sandra. And congratulations on the book. That's fantastic. Yeah. If you feel comfortable again, please close your eyes. And we approach Great Spirit, wonderful Creator, with thanks and appreciation that we were able to gather together for today. There were profound moments, profound thoughts and speech, and some of them may be grand and big, some may be small and barely a hush. But we know that we have changed as of today, one tiny bit at a time, one step further along the journey. And as we become aware of ourselves and the bigger picture, we give thanks that you're there to support us, to guide us, and that we are never alone. Amen.
Thank you so much, Tim and Maryalice. Thank you to you too. Before we play our closing song, I just want to thank our friends in the spirit world, but most importantly, you who's part of our community, for being here and just showing up. Sometimes that's the hardest part, is just showing up, but you did. So we hope we made your day a little brighter. So our closing video Maryalice has picked reminds us that we can go for our dreams, but they may not always show up the way that we're looking for. So this is a very tender video. Watch it. There's a few things to read, and I know it will make a difference and inspire you. Here we go. Stop share. There we go. Thank you for that, Maryalice. Beautiful song. Never give up. And I tell you, friends, you have us. We're only an email, a message away, but also surrounding you. You have so much love in the unseen world from your loved ones. You do. They're very real. They love you. They will see you again. Your life matters. Keep thinking about the bigger picture. Thanks again to Tim and Maryalice. Mwah. We love you. We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.